He is a video producer, he's a YouTuber, he does videos for Think Media, he does videos for his own channel, and he's a very talented man. And I really wanted to get him on today to us to try and actually just review your content the best we can. Now, it's not the sort of thing you see done that often because there are some slight tech limitations, because when you start streaming, video playback can get a bit laggy. So what we're aiming to do is, for the people that have submitted their channels, is to review the first 20 seconds. So we're going to look at production, intro, impact, editing, and then anything else that might pop up. Now, some of the people's, we might not need to suggest anything at all. Some we might. So I don't really know what's going to happen. Let's see how it goes. You nervous, Nolan? You excited?
I'm excited. I love YouTube. I've been doing video and video editing for a very long time, and I moved to LA a couple years ago, and that's when I really started working with YouTubers and actually editing for some different YouTubers that actually used to be on Vine, and kind of started, focusing more on YouTube content, started working with Think Media, where I create, 2 videos a week, and I've been doing that for over a year. And so it's been fun. I love YouTube. I love breaking down YouTube storytelling and editing. And so I'm actually just excited because I love talking about this kind of stuff. All right.
This is our first channel. So this is Tony. Now Tony's quite a larger channel, but I thought we'd jump in and see if there's anything that we can do. And we're going to fire up his first video. So Tony is a lawn care channel, and this one's about growing new grass seed. Okay, let's give it 20 seconds to see what happens.
What up, day? Welcome to the Permalawns video. Today we're going to have a look at the best way to grow new grass from seed. Stick around.
Stop playing.
Right off the bat. Yeah, well, right off the bat, I watch videos like this, not necessarily growing grass, but I watch a lot of tutorial-based stuff. So I'll go on YouTube like many of you guys, and I'll look for something. And especially when it's, how long is that video? Does it say it's 8 minutes? I can't quite see.
Yeah, it's 8 minutes.
Okay, so typically when I'm looking for a video like this, if it's a tutorial, if it's shorter, it's actually better. Now, I don't know what kind of other videos are out there on this subject, but something that I would click off right away or stay on is, in that beginning, I like that he showed the yard and it looked beautiful and he was walking towards the camera, but then he stopped talking and it cut to some different B-roll. And I think he could have shown the beautiful yard. He could have shown some of this B-roll. The before and after probably would be huge, to show that right at the very beginning, because that's when the most people are going to be watching. And so just right off the bat, that's something that I, in the edit, would want to show first, was those before and afters and some of that B-roll.
So I've got a feeling he's probably not going to be able to show an hour, he might not be able to show an after just because of the way it's done. Actually, flicking through, I can see there's some after shots in there. But if we just go from 9 seconds, a little bit more, because I just seen the drones come into play here.
Last year, we killed off a perfectly good lawn to show you guys how to grow a good lawn from seed. Now, we're very happy with the results from last year.
So there you are, there's the before and after that you wanted. So what you reckon, get that in a bit further forward?
Yeah, I would. These are great shots. So I just want to say he's doing a great job with getting some really cool shots of the grass and incorporating that in. I just, and we're nitpicking because those small little things really do make a difference. And so I think just even, getting rid of that talking head piece at the beginning with some more of that grass beauty shots, those hero shots at the very beginning can make a difference, because as we all know, it's impossible or near impossible to have 100% audience retention rate all the way through. But what happens is it starts at 100, because everyone clicks on the video, but they might click off right away. Maybe there's a 2-minute video that teaches you how to do it, right? And someone is in a hurry. So that's just something, that's something I would do, but I got to give them props because this is, they're great shots. And so we're just nitpicking a little bit here.
We are. One thing I was going to ask you about, because you're properly trained in production, right? I'm just a guy that learns stuff on YouTube. And I see this a lot on YouTube, is headroom. So
Yes.
there's a lot of Tony's positioned himself right in the center of the camera here. Now, I've
Yeah.
always tried and aimed to have my eyes sort of sitting on the upper third. Now, this is cool because it's taken in the whole shot and so on, but I'm just wondering if it kind of makes him look a bit small. And for me, it's like if you're teaching, you're the authority, so maybe just jumping in slightly and filling up a bit more screen and then using your B-roll to sort of capture that garden might give you a little bit more presence on camera. But then again, you know, I might be wrong. What are your thoughts on that?
No, you're 100% right. I think too the so what you're referring to is the rule of thirds, and so if you split up your shot into, you know, 3, 1/3, 1/3, 1/3 vertically as well as horizontally, you're going to have the thirds on your screen. A lot of cameras actually will show this, but what you want to do is you can see that top third above his head is empty space. It's trees. It's not really relevant when you're shooting people, and even with close-ups and medium shots and stuff like this. You want to bring that camera down more so that there's just, even on me right now, you know, there's just a little bit of headroom above me. So yeah, that's a good tip right there, and that's going to show the grass even more. And especially when you're adding text on the screen, you can see in the bottom left-hand frame, you can see that things are just going to fit better because the headspace is up top. It's just more natural if you watch television, movie, even a lot of YouTubers, but that's very normal. Yeah, so that's looking more like what the shot should look like. Yeah, that just looks better.
That's right. Yeah, it's sort of filling the screen a little bit more. There you are. It just gives him a little bit more presence. And then you've always got the option then to, you can always jump in further. But I think the B-roll you've got really does a good job of picturing all of capturing all of this. Yeah. Cool. My mouse is working again. Slightly less nervous. All right, that's Tony. Let's move on to the next contestant. And who have we got?
I mean, he has great audio, a great visuals, so you know he's doing a good job overall.
He's doing a great job. He's had it's not a particularly old channel. Tony comments a lot, and he's grown like wildfire, which is awesome to see. So next up we have Bruno, and let's pick a video, shall we? So looking at it, this is tech, retro tech, I reckon. There's older computers and so on there. I'm gonna hop in here. Okay, let's see if we can give this one 20 seconds and let's see what we think.
In this video, we're gonna build a Slot 1 True Gamers Retro PC.
A couple of weeks ago, my friend Mike from the Uncle Mike's Retro and Gaming channel invited me to a Slot 1 computer build-off. Initially, Retro Tech Bikes, Uncle Mike's, and OCR are all going to quote-unquote compete in this build-off, but other cool people are going to do their own thing, and everyone's videos will be added to the official playlist. I couldn't say no.
Cool. Okay.
You want to start or me?
Do you want me to start?
Well, you know what? I want to watch. So this is what I'd say just to start off with. The first thing he said before he got to that kind of desk shot, he almost just like, I almost feel like it's not needed. Because he almost just says, you already know that when you click on the video, you know he's going to, build a retro gaming computer. And then also he starts talking about a build off with some of his other YouTubers friends, and they're going to make it in a playlist. I'd prefer to put that like at the very end of the video, and that would encourage people also to go to watch another video. So far, I almost wonder if the video is better off by removing that entire bit, especially the part, you know, with the build off. Move that, because that doesn't need to be at the beginning of your video. The beginning of your video is so important for capturing the attention, and the first part he says you could still keep in there, but like I like getting right into the action with the video, and so that's my first thing that I noticed. But do you want to add anything to that?
Yeah, I think you're right. It's really hard to know when you're getting into the video. It's easier when you're looking at other people's, but I find it for myself. I'm like, I'm dragging on too long. How do I get this shorter? And I definitely agree with what you're saying. And it would have been cool here just to have like the shot of the retro gaming computer straight away. Like, this is my retro grading computer, and then just move on. Almost like Mr. Beast does. It's like reconfirm your thumbnail. And then get into the content, because I'm not sure how far along It is. Oh, maybe this is now the bit that's on here is part of the computer. Maybe I'm not quite techie enough to understand what's going on there. But some positives: sound. Now you guys probably won't be able to hear the sound as well as I can here. Very crisp. Shot looks great as well. Like when you're on camera, you know, it looks like you're using a good camera. There's nothing, you know, nothing really to. Again, you could bring the headroom down slightly. You could bring your eyes up to the line and the third slightly, a little bit more. But otherwise, you know, it's not offensive. And for me, I always have this like first impression where I think, and I know people don't like it when you're like, oh, get a camera. Everyone's like, you can use a phone, and that's fine. But to me, I always think that the second I see someone's using a proper camera, maybe that's just because it's me, I'm always like, okay, cool. We're in for a good start here. And then often what comes out of their mouth isn't particularly great. And then you're like, oh, it just looks good. But in this case, you know, I think you did a good job there with the framing and so on. All right, let's move on to the next contestant, unless you've got something to add.
I mean, it's hard to know too. Something you gotta think about too with these videos as we just continue to look at these videos and how we can, you know, make them better is what's the intent. And usually, you know, with a video like this, it's either going to be a tutorial and he's going to teach you how to build a retro gaming computer. But this video could potentially just be, it's kind of a challenge with other YouTubers. It could be just entertaining. And maybe it's a combination of both. And actually, if that's what he's doing, then I think that's awesome because that's pretty cool. And so, yeah, coming into these videos, I think we need to figure out who they're, you know, what it's intended for. If it is like for that, you know, if you're trying to rank and search, or if you're trying to really show up on home pages. And so, but again, maybe I'd have to watch his full video to understand that.
It's got a good, I mean, 379 views in 3 days from a channel with 754 subscribers. It's pretty good.
Yeah, no, you know, that's great.
There's a community there, and what I'd be excited about by that is like, you know, I don't know how much external promotion you've done, but if that's all coming from YouTube, you've got a small community forming who are coming back to your content, who share an interest, and that's really what you want to be trying to get. So you're definitely doing something right there. All right, who we got next? Okay, cool. This is James. So I've met James before. I did some work with him. So to give you, James does a lot of like international news, sort of like foreign correspondence. Gotcha. Covers all different news all around the world. He commented on one of my videos once saying he's been trolled in every language in the world.
That's amazing.
But yeah, so let's check out.
It looks like his videos do, you know, about the same. Can you scroll down just a little bit to look at his recent uploads? I know we're gonna look at the video, but I'm just curious. Sure. It looks like, you know, he's getting 6,000, 5,000, 10,000 there, 11,000. Looks like that one has 21,000 in Afghanistan. So, and you know, even some videos before that are doing really well. So, cool. Yeah, awesome. He's definitely crushing it, doing a good job.
One of the problems he comes across is audience. So, for example, he might do something on Mozambique, 83,000 views, and he got a lot of people from Africa interested. And then the next one, Croatia, might not be quite so. I know one of his struggles is trying to keep his views consistent. But, you know, 83,000 views is not it's not bad going at all. So I've looked at this one before. There's an ad. Let me just mute the ad because they're kind of like...
Okay. I mean, annoying. I haven't seen his video yet either, but something I would say for like a news channel is really, we'll see in this video, but if he can lean more in even on his personality and his unique character traits, and people can really connect with him. And if it's news, it's not maybe necessarily his perspective, because maybe he is just wanting to relay the news and say this is what's happening, but the more that he can bring his personality into the videos and connect and even talk to the viewers. And I think a big thing will be starting discussions. And if he can start discussions in the comments on his videos, that will be a great way for him to continue to build his audience, because clearly he's still getting, you know, at least 5,000 views a video. So he's got a really nice core audience there, but I think he can continue to grow that as people just get to know him more through these videos somehow. So we'll see what he kind of does in this video.
Yeah, sure. Okay, let's run it for 20 seconds odd.
In September 2021, just 6 weeks after seizing control of Afghanistan, the Taliban requested formal accreditation at the United Nations and that its foreign minister be allowed to speak at the General Assembly. While the UN sidestepped the issue, at least for now, it nevertheless raises an important and interesting question.
Okay, cool.
Yeah, you know, something that I think you do really well, Ed, is and that he, I think, probably does well, and why he's getting views on his channel is it looks like he gets right into the content, and I as a viewer, I love that, and especially when it comes to news, like that's what you're clicking on it for. And I think as he continues to do this, naturally his audience is going to build, because if you have consistent quality content, naturally people are going to want to keep coming back for more and more. So when it comes to your videos, I know every time I watch one of your videos, I'm going to learn something out of it. I'm going to be entertained. I'm going to be challenged to do something better. And so I always, you know, click on a video when it's someone that I'm constantly impressed with. Even with, like, I know it's not news, but like David Dobrik. When I click on his vlogs, I probably laugh. I feel good, and I just watch it all the way through, because he doesn't really let me down. He doesn't post a video that's, you know, not that good. And so I think, you know, James could be doing this and just continue to posting that really good content that is straight to the point. Is going to continue to build his community. Another thing that he could do, I don't know if he needs to do this, I'd probably need to watch more of the video, is maybe if his title, this is something we could all do on our own channels, but if your title is the clickbait and they click on it, you can deliver on that really quickly, and maybe not fully, but before you get to the second piece of the Afghanistan news or whatever, you could say, hey, also coming up later in the video, I'm going to be covering why this is happening, who this is affecting, you know, and tease them, because the whole point of audience retention, the whole point of watching videos is you want people to watch as much as possible. And if people don't know what's coming up, and if they're getting bored, they're just going to click off. But if they know what's coming up, they're way more likely to, and just verbally saying that in your videos can be a great way to let people know, show a little bit of B-roll. Going to be a great way to let people know what's coming up and help. I think probably that's going to help grow his retention rate.
Yeah, sure. I mean, I haven't really got much to add there. All I would say from the production point of view is you could probably bring down your lighting a little bit. So you've got the back's all nice and bright, but it's a little bit like washed out. A little bit more contrast would be cool. So you could potentially turn down maybe some of the lights. It looks like in this top left corner of the screen, I know you can't see my mouse, it looks like there's a light bouncing off that wall perhaps. It might be the one from this computer. So maybe even get the saturation up a tad too, because you've got those nice colourful books in the background. I feel like we could pump a little bit more colour into it. But otherwise, yeah, I mean, one of the things that, so I've met James and he's super bubbly. Like, he jumped on the Zoom and he's like, hi Ed, how you doing, man? And I was like, whoa, because he's so, like, he's very news based. And I just did say this to him. I said, like, James, like, it'd be great to see that. But at the same time, he's like, I talk about such serious issues. I'm like, yeah, how can you win there? But I'm just wondering if there's an element of that could be sprinkled in slightly just to soften it a little bit. It'd be something you test, and James, you know your audience better than I do. But having met you, and it's like you said a minute ago, personality, I know that James is like this actually super friendly, like chatty, quite energetic guy. And I would love to see a little bit of that come out, but I kind of understand why. So, like you said, you know, this is a super niche channel, and James is doing, you know, a great job of reporting on this information that a lot of people just ignore. Thumbnails would, I think you've gone with the blue wash, which is kind of like fine for a branding point of view, but I wonder if this one here with Slovenia, you know, bringing the flags into play just to have a bit more of a pop of colour might help the image stick out a little bit more.
Yeah, I mean, I agree with everything you're saying. That would be an interesting experiment for him to show more of that personality that he has there. That's maybe more lighthearted. And as far as thumbnails go, I mean, there's so many things you could do with a channel like this for thumbnails. So, Yeah, I mean, he's definitely got the branding of the blue, but you know, I would just say don't be afraid to experiment. I would toss all the blue out the window and try and find a really good photo that tells a story. I think that's gonna be a big thing for him with his news channel. And if you can find an image that tells the story of what you're talking about, I definitely would experiment with that, even if there was no text potentially, and it was just very contained. And so that's something I would definitely mess with. I'm not a huge fan of those thumbnails, and so I probably even look at some other like Vox, look at some of their thumbnails, and some of these other kind of like journalism type of channels, and look at how they're telling stories. You know, look at how they're telling stories in their thumbnails.
Yeah, I see.
They're pretty simple, and they have their own thing, but they're not like all blue. You know what I mean? So
the channel branding I think it's important to have some sort of look, but again, you can kind of tell from Vox, right, where it's like they've got a style. It's not necessarily the same in every video, but I would kind of, after I'd watched a few, probably start to understand what it is that they have in their images. You know what I mean? Like Matt develops.
Well, they even have the Vox logo.
Oh yeah, they do. I didn't see that. Well, that would be one big clue. Okay, cool. Let's move on. This is Claudio or Claudio. Apologies.
I just want to say, Ed, I wish I could see the comments right now. But maybe after this video ends, I'll hop in there and respond to some comments and stuff. But I hope you guys are enjoying and just hanging out with us. You know, you're probably
just
watching
chatting
this
away.
Because really, okay.
Last time I did a live stream. Last time I did a live stream,
Nick
Nick Nim came in and just started chatting to me from the comments, and I was like, "This is so cool." They're having a chat. I was chatting away, and he messaged me after, and he was like, "Oh, I hope you don't mind." I was like, "No, that was awesome."
That's funny. Maybe what I'll do is I'll take a look at the comments periodically on my phone here. So, anyways, but
they're all positive so far. I used to get a message as soon as I started that was like, "Why are you doing this? No one's gonna watch." I was like, "Thanks," but still, that's to be expected, I guess. Not everyone's so polite. All right, let's have a look at Claudio. So, aesthetics and life. I feel like I've been on this channel before as well. I don't know if you've commented on something, and I've just had a look because I think you do a lot of stuff, skincare and so on. Oh no, skincare influencers on the right we've got here. I'm gonna click on that one just because it's a bit different. Let's have a look at it. I'm quite liking the thumbnail. I'm quite liking the thumbnail too.
So as someone in the skincare industry, I see how a lot of the times companies and even influencers over-exaggerate their results and often portray perfect skin. In this video, I'm going to show you the tricks of the trade they use so that you can judge for yourself. So which did you prefer? Filtered me or unfiltered? Hey guys, welcome back.
Yeah, that was that was very interesting actually with the side by side there. That was very interesting.
That really hooked me.
And often portray perfect skin.
I keep pressing play by mistake. I mean, he really showed his point there straight away. Like I wasn't even really listening to like exactly every word. I was looking at it like there's a big difference, and it proved his point almost instantly with an effect, which I think is cool.
You know, one thing I like what he did there with the hook and the filtered and unfiltered. I'm always gonna say you could still add a bit more B-roll. So I would look at that maybe at the beginning of the video and then cut to some like influencers, Instagram influencers, really done up photos and videos, and even use sound effects. He had some music in there, but like he could really spice up that hook a little bit. And that's something I like to do sometimes, is spend a lot of time on the first 30 seconds and then people kind of settle in, and then it's not like that fast paced throughout the whole video. But one thing I was going to ask you about is, what do you think about his title? Because for me, it's a little bit I'm actually a little bit confused on what this video is going to be about. It's how skincare influencers use filters on YouTube. So is he going to talk about how filters like work digital, like how they actually work? Or is he
that's a great point, because I was assuming he was going to break down how I hadn't even read how skincare influencers use filters on YouTube. Right. In my head, I just naturally went to Instagram because I know it's a problem.
Oh, on YouTube, yes. See, I'm a little bit confused by the title there. So I think if he was a bit more clear with what we're clicking on, he could actually get more clicks potentially.
Yes, and that is a great point, because it's the Instagram versus reality thing is slightly different to the title, how skincare influencers use filters on YouTube. I hadn't realised people were using filters on YouTube. I might have to get myself on.
Yeah.
So yeah, that's a good point actually. Now, also with the title,
Okay.
you probably could have gone a little bit more extreme. Like, you know, the shocking truth of skincare.
Yeah,
you know.
Yeah, I mean, and it's hard to know without watching the full video, but yeah, I mean, what's something you would do with that?
I would usually spend about 3 hours brainstorming that and get myself into a panic. But
Yeah.
you know, how it's working for him, right? So it's got more views than his other videos. So I kind of know where it's going. The disconnect was where you said at the introduction. So maybe the retention might crash a little at the start, but you've proved the point. It would be good to know if you were talking about the Instagram bit's thrown me, but you know, I think your thumbnail, you could maybe have made your thumbnail. Put a filter on a celebrity and just use this, like, you know, reality.
Yeah, that's
filtered,
really smart.
and just
I like
tested
that a
that.
lot. And one thing I wanted to add too is there's a few comments that people were asking. They were saying why B-roll when it's focused on his face, and then another person asked why would you need B-roll? And for me, I think this talking head piece, the intro, it is like 12 seconds long, and for you might feel like that is not very long. Now every single week I'm making videos and I'm going back and I'm looking at the first 30 seconds and I'm seeing how long people drop off within a second, and it can go steep within. By 10 seconds, you could lose like 40%. Like, you know, you can start to lose people very quickly. So you might have a longer attention and be able to watch this and be entertained. But what I think the power of adding in some extra shots or B-roll is, for example, if he's using Kylie Jenner in that thumbnail, why not show a picture of her in the very beginning too? Maybe of like an Instagram versus reality shot, and use her influence as well to be a part of that hook and to hook people in. And then maybe you talk about that later on in the video. But also the hook in the very beginning of your video is a great chance when using B-roll, because you guys are wondering why use B-roll. He's just talking to the camera. You can use B-roll to show what's coming up later. So if he does start talking about Kylie Jenner later, or he starts talking about maybe some of the downsides of using filters instead of taking care of your skin, maybe that comes up later in the video, but he can show that in the very beginning of like damaged skin or you know, and then like filters. And so this is stuff that I've found to work. And I mean, tell me if that's the same for you, but I've always found that if you can cut more in and show people what's coming up more, add in a bit more B-roll, if it makes sense to your content, it's going to hold people's attention longer. And that's just what I found from the tests and stuff that I've done.
Do you know what I've noticed is so there's different levels of like YouTube. There's the ultimate beginners, and there seems to be this like there's a lot of people now who have nice setups, they're getting the basics right, and what you've just said there is to go up a level. It's like to go from being a good YouTuber to a great YouTuber, and it's thinking about how do I bring what I'm saying to life more. And I think that's what starts to separate them, because everything you've said, I'm like, oh yeah, that would make it so good, it'd make it really engaging. But at the same time, I'm looking at it like, well, I wouldn't switch off this video because it's a bad video. Do you know what I mean? But there's actually some things that he can do that will just go from like, let's say you're a 6 out of 10. The things that you've just been talking about will whack it up to an 8. You know, and I feel like, you know, the line where people switch off is probably like a 4 out of 10. So everything you've just said is spot on for sure. And it's a matter of practice.
Thing too. Oh yeah, go ahead.
I was just saying, it's like what I did was because it's obviously it's a little bit intimidating. Trying out new stuff and is it going to work and go back, so I just made it my mission every video to add something new or to try something new, or just to start on the intro with having lots of b-roll and then being like, all right, that's working, now let's do the first minute with loads of b-roll and then bolt on, because if you fly into the whole video, you know, it takes for ages. So maybe that's the sort of thing to focus on, like maybe go like first minute I'm going to try and get a ton of b-roll in here, and then look at your retention graph, and if when you look at that dropping list, you're going to have the confidence to spend more time on everything else.
Yeah, no, those are all good points, and you have a really good video and a good talk with Hillier Smith. Wait, is that Hillier? What's his last name?
Hillier Smith, yeah.
Oh, okay. But you know, he talked about, and you've talked about this on your channel, is showing emotion or trying to convey emotion, and something you can do, not whether it's in the hook, but even throughout your video, is show B-roll, whether you're using story blocks or footage of yourself if you just film yourself. Finding out what it is, you know, we'd have to think through this video. What emotion is he trying to convey? It could be fear, it could be, I don't know, right? But showing B-roll also can help convey those emotions to the audience. And so that's something really powerful that you can do as well. Again, remember guys, we're really critiquing because from what we've seen, that gets a little bit better, makes big differences. And so this is just the advice I think that we're giving, that that even though it's a fantastic hook and we could have just gone by, we're like, if it was us though, we probably would have tried this to make it a little bit better. So yeah,
I think that's the name of the game. It's like, look, no matter how good you get in, try and get better. I'm still looking, going, what can I do next? And I definitely want to continue to improve. Some of the stuff you're saying, I'm like, oh yeah, I really need to pay more attention to that. But yeah, great job. I think you're off to a flying start there. You're certainly punching above your subscriber count from the 20 seconds that I watched. I'd say that.
Yeah, I agree.
So let me just get my mouse to work again. Someone said in the comments, just plug it into the USB. It is, or was. It just seems to be, unfortunately, eCam. It happened the other week as well. Anyway, I'm nearly there. It's not as bad as the other day where I literally couldn't move it. Right, let me just paste this next channel. So this is Bailey's Barn, and I've seen some of their videos before actually, because they come in and comment quite a lot on the channel. So there's a mixture of shorts here at the start. In fact, they commented recently saying they'd been doing a lot of shorts. I think they were trying to get a lot of content out. Yeah, here we are. So I've watched a bit of this one. Let's go in and have a look. Yeah, so this is a bit of context. Obviously, this is about like I guess farm animals or barn animals, however you might describe them. And they sort of make videos about the sort of hijinks that they get up to with the animals that they've got at their disposal. One I watched recently really made me laugh. I can't remember what it was, but I'm just having a flashback. We've got an ad. Excuse me while I play this ad for Peloton. Alright, let's put the sound back up. So, should you feed grain? Okay.
And how possibly could owning goats compare to a game of Jenga? Well, hang tight. I'm going to show you. Every Jenga game starts with a solid foundation. The same is true for owning goats. For us, that meant a barn that could keep them dry in the spring, warm in the winter, and safe from predators through the night. Good fencing is a must.
Cool. Okay, we'll leave it there.
Okay. Yeah. Here's another good example of just bringing that camera down just a little bit so there's not as much headroom. But as far as the video goes, first of all, I feel like one really positive thing I want to say first is I feel like this channel is just like a farming vibe. like they just fit like the country vibe. I'm like, if I want goats, like I want to like live in this house and like have her farm. Like this is pretty cool. And her barn setup. But the interesting thing to me was I want to talk about the title and then the content because they go so hand in hand, right? Because as a viewer, you have a lot of clicking off sometimes is because it's not what you expected. And I could see that could be the case with this video. Is someone might have gone into search and asked, is grain okay for goats? That's maybe the question they're asking. And they see this video, should you feed grain? And then later they see first time goat owner. It's a game of Jenga. I was really curious what that was going to mean. And then she touched on it in the very beginning. I think take out it's a game of Jenga and also take that out of your hook. And potentially, maybe she ties it into grain, but potentially that's its own video, is raising goats is like a game of Jenga. I didn't think it needed that. I would have rather seen her first. I guess this is the issue. Here's the issue. She has two different topics, right? She's talking about raising goats and how it's a game of Jenga. And then she's talking about, should you feed grain? And we clicked on it. I was expecting her to hear grain, but we started hearing about Jenga. And so I feel like that's the initial first mistake, is that there's two maybe separate audiences or intentions here.
So I was wondering if you were using Jenga as a metaphor for, so for example, you hit play and it's like, should you feed goats grain? Well, it's kind of like a game of Jenga, you know. I don't know if that was like an explanation process you were using, or like you said, a separate story. So, yeah, you've hit the nail on the head there. There's a little bit of a disconnect.
And I will say,
go ahead.
Metaphor, we're on a delay, so I feel like I keep interrupting you. So I'm sorry for that. I'm a few seconds behind you, but the metaphor that you do in the video, I think, is super powerful. If you want to use Jenga in your video to explain how to raise goats, that's fantastic. I think you definitely should do that. I just don't think that should be a part of your title. And if your video title is about should you feed grain, then I think you should focus more the video and the hook on that first, I guess is what I'm trying to say.
Yeah. So and there is I think there's a little bit of confusion between sort of traffic sources here, right? So like you said, the search there, should you feed grain, there's a search term there, there's a search term there. This is almost more like the hook, I guess, to try and create intrigue. So I think if you were going for, if we look at your thumbnail, is the risk too big? Okay. So there's obviously some issues with goats eating grain, and maybe that's a common misconception. So you could have just gone with, should you feed goats grain, and left it at that nice and short, or you could have flipped it and been like, add a thumbnail of a goat looking angry, or, you know, like it's lost its mind, arrow pointing at it, going like with grain, you know, pointing at it, and then being like, the main reason you should never feed goats grain, something like that, just to sort of conjure up a picture. And then if you like, you can switch traffic source. So you could post that, see how it goes down with the community, get those guys clicking on it, get your click-through rate up in browse on release, and then maybe after a week or so, once the traffic's died down, just change it to should you feed goats grain, and then you can utilize a second traffic source afterwards. But yeah, you've definitely got to get clearer on that intro. And I think what you've actually tried to do is you've tried to get creative with it, which I'd always encourage, but you might have just gone a little bit too far with it. So maybe simplify that introduction. And then you could always have like a subplot of if Jenga is relevant, you know, going through with the story. Right. But I commend your effort.
Yeah, I think the idea there is really good. I think everything you said is spot on. And something that actually could really help you in a video like that is literally just looking at the camera and saying, in this video, I'm going to tell you the pros of feeding your goats grain. I'm going to tell you the bad side of feeding your goats grain. And also, and if this wants to be part of your video, and also some tips on raising goats if you're a first time goat owner. And, you know, you could be like, hint, it's kind of like playing Jenga. And then it gets into your video. And then that can just kind of like give so much context as to what you're actually watching. Cause I kind of clicked on it, was a little bit confused, and maybe, you know, I'm not in the whole goat barn type of, I'm not that kind of viewer, but so maybe other people would understand that, but still, I think you could be a bit more clear, even with just blatantly saying that at the beginning of the video could help you a lot for people to know what they're watching.
Hmm. Yeah, but I mean, I have seen some of their content before, and it's very humorous. So you know, keep it lighthearted. I think some of the stuff your animals do is great. All right.
Yeah.
Next we have JC Echo.
Oh.
Okay, and I think this is
Gaming
a gaming
channels?
channel. Yes. Okay. Cool. All right. So let's have a look at. This has just been uploaded 5 minutes ago. Should we dive in?
Let's do it.
Now, don't panic if I don't watch
You're
this.
gonna kill. Don't kill his retention. You have
It's-
to play all the way through now.
Your attention's only going to take a hit on the Traffic Source channel page, so this won't stop you getting pushed
Okay.
out more if I only watch
Good.
20 seconds. There's an advert. So, oh yeah. So you've got quite a lot of subscribers. Is this still the ad? Yeah, it is.
There we go.
Okay. Ooh, I can see already. There's a ton. This flies in. All right, let's hit play. Fake cop gets caught by real cop in GTA.
Alright, as you can see in this scenario, I am not a cop in this server. I'm just
you
dressed
come
up
up
as
here
a
or we're
fucking
gonna
cop,
take you
and
out
I'm just in this fucking robbery, and they're just going with it. Sir, you know how many officers are outside of this building right now?
Well, we got
Yeah,
EMS
there's
to
a
stand by
lot,
and everything
sir.
for your ass.
Yo,
One,
you
two,
know,
three,
you-
four.
There's like at least 10
Alright,
officers.
Are you
here,
coming
sir.
out or
No,
what?
I'm not here right now.
Come right hand, talk with me real quick.
Hey,
Okay.
You want to start on this one, Ed?
Sure. So, now I'm a sad millennial, so I wasn't sure what was going on. Now I played GTA since the original one, but I think for me the sound was a bit of a distraction there. I don't know if it was background noise or other gamers you were chatting to, but it made it a little unclear for me to know what was going on. Now,
I agree.
One thing you did do quite well, and I know gaming content is all about energy, is you've got the right, the style of your edit where there's a lot going on. You've got the sort of Mr. Beast style text here, which is, getting people reading stuff's good, jumping back and forward with you, but the sound was just a little bit overwhelming. So I couldn't quite get into it, and I think maybe a way round it is, I don't know if how you feel about this, but for this intro, because it's so important, maybe you could have narrated it. And not just jump straight into the gaming content, and just had a bit of you maybe on camera or playing a bit of the game just to set it up, and then perhaps jump into this, because there was a lot of energy in there, which is great. And like I said, gaming content is always energetic.
Could you play the first 10 seconds one more time?
Sure. Okay, here we go.
Alright, as you can see in this scenario, I am not a cop in this server. I'm just
you
dressed
come
up
up here
as
or
a
we're
fucking
gonna
cop,
take you
and
out.
I'm just in this fucking robbery, and they're just going with it. Sir, you know how many officers are outside of this building
Okay, so
right now?
pause it there. So, again, take this a little bit with a grain of salt, because I don't watch this kind of content as much, and so, just take that into consideration. But what I really love that you did at the beginning of this video is you reassured us that what we clicked on we were going to get. So you're the fake cop, which we now know, and you're hanging out with real cops in GTA. The next question I have is what's going to happen or what could go wrong. And so I think what you could do is even it pauses and it goes, now if I get caught by these cops, they're going to arrest me, and if I can get by, I'm going to steal all the money in this bank or something, something like that. And I think a big thing in even just television and movie is conflict, but then also high stakes and high rewards. So if you can set that up in the beginning, that gives me a reason to find out what's going to happen. And whatever kind of content you have, if you guys are gaming, if you are even tech, what we do on Think Media or whatever it is you're doing, if you can set up some sort of piece that people are looking forward to finding out. And for me watching this video, it's what's going to happen. That's what I want to know. And maybe you even show a snippet of that, and it's like you're about to get caught, and maybe you show that at the very beginning once you explain it, and then the cops look at you, you do the zoom in on their face, and it's like that sound effect is like, and then it's like, and then it cuts to the beginning of the video. It's like, hey guys, stay tuned to see if we get caught, and here's what happened. Now that's, to me, more interesting, because now I know what to look forward to.
Yeah.
If that makes sense to you. Ed.
Yeah, that was great. The spot needs some stakes, right, and some anticipation
Yeah.
to set up, what's going to happen. I don't know if
Well, because they're there.
Yeah, they are. So up to 6 seconds, I was with you. I was following what's going along. And I don't know if it was the squeak. I don't know if it was because my headphones are a bit tinny. But it was like, it threw me. And I couldn't really focus on what you were saying after that point. Now, that could just be me and my brain. But before I was with you, and then it was like the squeak and then the background noise. So yeah, maybe you could have done that. Probably the same narrative almost as what you used. But just a slightly cleaner audio. Because what we don't want is people going, oh no, and it throwing them off. And it's something I've actually been doing recently. Like, I hadn't realised how much my voice was hissing when people use headphones. So now I'm having to, when I edit, I'm going through and listening to my computer speakers, then my headphones, because they're often a little tinnier, and it's jarring when you have like a going on all the time, and it can annoy people and get your attention. So it's a quick win there. But otherwise, there was, as gaming content goes, there's tons of energy there. It might just be a case of spend a little more time planning your sort of story arc, I guess, and how you're going to set it up.
And the issue too with the technical side of recording audio, it's possible that those background people that we're hearing that's distracting, and I know you're also talking about the hiss, but all of that could be because he's recording the actual, maybe a live stream. And so if he can find a way just to record audio separately that isolates his own voice, and then also record on a separate track, the gameplay and that audio, that'll just level up his production quality. And maybe fix some of those issues.
Yeah, that's a good idea. So can you think of anything where he'd be able to set up almost like multiple channels then? A tool or something, or is there any software he could use to do that?
I'm trying to think of a good way to do it. He's got the blue snowball microphone right there. It depends on his setup, but if he, I'm not as familiar with the whole gaming side, but I know that you can, just like on Mac, you have GarageBand or Audacity's free, whatever. You can record, but I don't know if you're recording for that long. I'm sure if you go on YouTube, you could find some answers that would probably record in an efficient way. But I mean, if it was just me and I was just trying it, I would just record separate on GarageBand, and then my capture card would be recording all the gameplay and talking and all that stuff. So that's what I would do.
Yeah, I guess if you don't have the ability to do that, another thing you can do is just stage your intro, go through it and be like, this is the cool bit, I'm going to use the intro. I'm just going to remake it now on my own. Like, they don't need to know that I'm not playing it. It's what happened. And maybe punch it out and you'll get that nice crispness. But I'm sure that's probably quite a freak, because it actually didn't sound like it went on for that much longer past that point.
Yeah.
Okay, let's go. So this is James Drake. Okay. So
also, a few people were asking in the comments. They were asking about how did they get their videos reviewed, Ed. So, do you want to mention that? They need to turn on the bell next time.
No, don't do that. I made a mistake with that. I wanted to. The last time I did channel reviews, there's so many people submitted it, and it's like, how do I get it? So I can try and get the people who watch my content the most and always support me the most to have a chance of actually getting a chance at a review. So I uploaded a video called I would delete this video in 7 minutes, and it was just me explaining that to submit your channel to this review, you just needed to click on the link below, and then I removed the video. But yeah, I have realised that although that's great for encouraging notifications, at the same time I'd rather they were organic, because at the end of the day, it's just, if you don't really want to subscribe to someone and you hit the notification bell, it's just annoying, right? And it's not the best relationship. Yeah. So the next time I do it, I've got another plan up my sleeve, which will get around that, and it's quite creative, and it will limit the numbers. Because believe it or not, 300 people submitted in the 6 minutes that were left after the video was watched, which really surprised me. So thanks for that, guys, for flying in. Keep an eye. I'll always just keep an eye on the community wall. I'll always be updating stuff, and I'll try and come up with different ways of giving people a different chance of getting in. That's a bit more creative, and I've got a good idea actually for the next one. So whenever it is, but yeah. So if you missed it, don't worry. I will be doing this. If this seems to be working okay, right? No, I don't think there's any issue with playback so far. So I'd like to do it again. Yeah. All right. After that small commercial break. This is Z Drake. So it looks like we've got another gaming channel. Looks slightly different. So
okay.
let's have a look at this.
Hey guys, how's it going? It is Drake. So, question of the day: GTA Remastered. Did you ask for it? You likely didn't. And also, which of the PS2 era games is your favorite? For me, it's Vice City for very obvious reasons. The soundtrack. But for you, it might be GTA 3 or San Andreas. And if you've never played them, this is likely aimed at you. Which are you?
Okay, so this is like gaming news then, because I know they announced.
Yeah.
And you can see, look, it's got a ton of views. I'd say that's a good tactic, for gaming channels. If news breaks, because at 400 subscribers, 1,000 views. How many views do you usually get? Yeah. Like news is views. So if you can harness it in your niche, and actually, I think if you're a small gaming channel, this is a great way to get some views and get the right kind of community come in, react to news that you have in your niche, because it's really hard if you're just like playing gaming all the time. It's quite hard to get that traction. But as you can see here, what tends to happen when news breaks is you can pick up search views really quick actually, and you tend to get pushed a little bit more. And we can see, look, this is his best performing video. So this could be a type of content that you crack on with straight away and help to bring people to more videos. So I like the idea. I think you pounced at that. One of the problems, of course, with doing that is time. So every second counts when the news breaks. If you're the first in, you're going to really benefit from it. So you kind of have to think, production-wise. And I know we talk about B-roll and things, but if it's a case of actually just getting a video out, sometimes news content needs to be sacrificed a little bit. But at the same time, I can see you've brought in some game shots. I just feel like, kind of like Nolan said earlier, if we could get a few more game shots in the beginning just to set it.
Could you play that first 5 seconds for me one more time?
Sure.
And I can see Drake is here in the chat. So what's up, man? Let's take a look at this beginning. So he has an editor. So let's see.
Okay, let me just try that again.
Hey guys, how's it going? It is Drake. So, question of the day: GTA Remastered. Did you ask for it? You likely didn't. And also, which of the PS2 era games?
So, that intro where you introduce yourself, I know this is a very small thing, and tell me if you would do the same, Ed. I would take that and put it maybe 12 seconds in, 30 seconds in, after, because I would just start off the video. The question you're asking is, the GTA trilogy remastered, did you ask for it? Or, and like, I would start with that piece, because people are clicking on it and they want to get into the news. They want to get into these questions that you're talking about. And then maybe that ends and you have a little sound effect and you say, hey, what's up? Welcome back to the channel. Let's get right into, and then and I would just do that a little bit later. That's just a small thing that you can do. But I mean, would you do that, Ed, or did you like how he introduced himself in the beginning?
It didn't. Sometimes they're kind of offensive in that they go on for too long. So it was quick. But yeah, I would bring that back or just use a lower third to get in. What I would say is the title. The thing that you've picked up on there is, did we ask for it, or did you ask for it? And I'm wondering, the title is GTA Trilogy Remastered Explained, and that's not really set up in the intro that it's kind of an explanation. You've actually challenged it, did we ask for it? So I'm wondering if the title and intro could do the little work to maybe, I like that you've challenged people, because I know there was a lot of outcry on Twitter and people were annoyed that GTA 6 wasn't out. I'm just going to watch that one more time. Give me one sec.
Yeah. Hey guys, how's it going? It is Drake. So, question of the day: GTA Remastered. Did you ask for it?
I mean, yeah, you're totally right, but he kind of gets away with it, and just because within 6 seconds he's in. Yeah. But also go and look at your graph and see, because as Nolan said, the spike can be what tends to happen. I think is people do this.
It's brutal.
Hey guys, how's it going? It is Drake.
All right, and then they just go, hang on. They don't even look. They just scrape the bar across, and they're like, "Where's it? Oh, okay." I can see some B-roll.
People will just double tap on the mobile phone. Do you ever do that? Do you ever you're watching a video, you just double tap? Okay, now I'm in the content.
yeah, and that's it doesn't necessarily mean people have left your video. It means they've got rid of the beginning. I liked the Vice City throwback. I think for nostalgia, the people who played that, like me, I enjoyed that. Like a little nod back. It's kind of empathizing with the viewer a little bit. You're on the same page. But yeah,
You know
I feel
what?
like
for the hook, I think what you're getting at too is you when it comes to anyone's YouTube channel, the whole point of your video is you want to think what is the best video possible, but that also answers the video you're making. So if you're going to make a GTA trilogy remastered and you're explaining it, you want to think as a viewer, what do you want to know? And when you're clicking on this video, what do they want you to answer? And I think if you could answer something right away and then tell them what else you're going to answer, could be a much better hook rather than, did you ask for it? You know, I kind of like that almost as like a comment, like, did you ask for it? Are you happy about it? Let me know in the comments. And then you keep going. But like, I would spend more time thinking about your hook and thinking about the viewer and exactly what is it they want to know. And I think what they probably want to know is, you know, and I'm just guessing because I'm not in this like you are, but like, when is it coming out? And people are upset. Why are they upset? And what do they want instead? And maybe you could start the video. Twitter is raging because the trilogy's coming out remastered and GTA 6 is, you know, and like you could start off the video with some emotion like that. And so I would spend a little more time just really thinking. Yeah,
like
yeah.
people slating them like the rage and so on. Just harping back to the soundtrack thing. So this is one of the things I never really talk about this, but here's an exclusive. So I pick my tracks based on the audience I want to resonate with. So I used a KSI song, and I was like, I'd never heard that before in my life, but I wanted the sort of younger lot to build a bit of a relationship with me, right? And the comments on just using KSI's track, what epic. People come, whoa, it's KSI's track, like how'd you get that in there, sort of thing. So sometimes like music and maybe giving little nods to your audience, like sometimes I use Outcast and I can tell straight away that it's people in their 30s commenting on that. So you can think about your audience and you can actually use music in a way that makes people feel things. So I can see from this comment here, you've hit the nail on the head with your quick flash to Vice City's music, because straight away, as long as they don't touch the soundtrack for Vice City, I'm sold. So you've called exactly what people loved about that, and I remember that as well, playing that when I was a bit younger. So I think that was a smart decision, and music goes for me really deep. Like sometimes I sit there and I listen to a track just to get inspiration, just sends my brain going in like different places, and sometimes I'll even listen to a song before I start making a video to see kind of how it inspires me. But I think you did a good job of sort of getting on the same level as the viewer there. Not quite sure what the right word is, just by flashing that fast. But yeah, otherwise everything Nolan said, again, it's kind of spot on.
Yeah, I like the B-roll here. I do like that you got right into, even though, you know, we're critiquing that you introduced yourself in the very beginning. I like that it was quick, and I like that you did get into the content right away, especially something that is news. They don't want you to be vlogging, you know, you driving to grab coffee, or, you know, I like that you just got right into the content. And so you do understand what the viewer wants. I would just spend a little more time focusing in on that hook and teasing. And that's kind of, I guess that's kind of been some of the advice for the last couple of videos. Teasing what's coming up, but also understanding what do they want to come up. And implement that into your content and deliver on that and tell them that you are going to give it to them. So yeah, great job.
Something I need to get back on again. I've lost track of my recent videos to doing enough sort of teasing. It was always on my mind, like, oh yeah, let's create some anticipation. I've just realised I don't think I've done it in my latest video. So slap myself on the wrist. You can slap me on the wrist as well if you like, Nolan. I was like, oh, it's finished now.
We could all do better, and that's the fun thing about diving into these videos is it gives us good ideas, and I'm sure if you guys are watching too, be thinking about this for your own channel. I'm sure you are. But another big thing I love to do when watching your content or when watching other YouTubers that I love to watch, that I'm really entertained by and that I really am inspired by, I watch their videos, and sometimes I just watch it for fun, right, when I'm just casually on YouTube. But go back and look at what and break it down. What did they do that was so fun? Did you feel like you're a friend of theirs? Why is that? Did they tell you something was coming up that made you really want to know, and it built the suspense that like you couldn't miss it. And then really reverse engineering and being like, why is that? Why when they post a video, why am I always clicking on their videos? I can't stop, So that's the beauty of breaking down these YouTube videos, is it just helps us with our own channels as well.
Yeah, that's exactly, that's spot on. When it's hard because you're enjoying something, but I'm stopping and going, why do I suddenly feel that? Or actually, there was someone we're going to look at in a minute who does it via the way that she presents. And I was watching her content, and I am not her target audience, but I was like, damn, I like this girl. Like, she's pulling me into the video just with her aura. And actually, I think we probably don't focus enough on how your persona on camera can do that too. We'll get to her in a little bit. But otherwise, good job, man. I think you might not want to become a gaming news channel, but don't be afraid to jump in on the next story that's relevant to your audience, because you've had a hit there. And I looked at the comments. People were happy, about what you'd said, and they seem to enjoy your content. So promising channel there for sure.
Can I ask you a question about that?
Go on.
Let me ask you this, because this will help a lot of people. When a video pops off, like for example, let's say for Drake, he has the gaming channel, but he did a news video that took off for him, and you just said you probably don't want to become a news gaming channel, and he probably doesn't. But would it be smart for him to start doing that maybe once a week or every other week as an addition to the content he loves, to bring in more eyeballs and hope that that's kind of top of the funnel, and then people can find maybe some of these other videos like Vanguard multiplayer gameplay, and hope that people transition into some of his other content that he loves to do? Is that what would you say about that?
Yeah, so that's we want to start a long watch session, right? So if we look at the comments on your GTA, this remastered GTA video explained, right? The comments were really positive. So it looks like you won some fans there with your opinions and the video itself. So what you really want to be thinking is, where am I going to send them next? So news can be the start of a funnel. So if you think about your end screens and your cards and links and comments to try and push people to the next video, think if they like this and it's nice and short, so the chances are they're not going to be bored. Where can you send them next? So if you've got any other GTA 5 GTA content, which you may or may not do, that's the next place to point them. And maybe that's the thing you want to think about, because often gaming channels, they go into be on one game, like Minecraft or something, and you're covering lots of different topics here. So you want to be pointing back people to another video you kind of can bet money on that they're going to be interested in. So news can bring in the gaming enthusiasts, and like Nolan said, maybe once a week, or it depends how often you're uploading. No, it's not that often. So maybe every fourth video, something like that, you could cover the news. The problem is, if there's no news, you don't really want to cover it. So or you could do like a gaming round, the news this week. I'm sure there's going to be tons of news in the industry. Or you could become a gaming news channel. That would be a whole, I'm sure you could do something there. But if it's not your passion, then you don't want to do it. So I think, cover news that maybe you've got some content to push people back to. That would be the one that would really stick out to me. So what have you got here? You've got Valorant or Valorant. I'm not sure. You've got quite a bit of content on that. This one here is doing well. This one, $100 skin already, 6,000 views. So maybe if there was some news on that, you could then at the end be like, and now check out this video, where I'm going to show you how to get $100 skins or whatever it is, and try and get the session up. Because another issue that can happen with news-based content is people come for the news and they go, especially if they find you in search. They might not be sitting there expecting to go on a journey. It's up to us to try and convince them to keep going. And I genuinely think from the comments I looked on that, you could have got more views on other content. So you've done the news well.
Yeah, what you said there's brilliant. I think too, he did GTA, so if he had a video on GTA gameplay or something, then that would be even better. He's done some Call of Duty videos, so if he makes another news video, if it's on Call of Duty, then what you're saying at the end of the video, sending people to the COD tier list or the multiplayer gameplay video. That's smart. I like that. Okay, cool.
Well, just think about, we don't, viewers have all different interests, and it's like we can't really ever guess 100%, what they're interested in. So look at your video and be like, all right, pretty much everyone who's ever going to watch this is interested in GTA. So what would they be interested in next? I can almost guarantee they would, and that's the kind of simplest way of looking at it. Okay, so next up we have Amit. So Amit's doing self-improvement productivity. He's doing well. Looks like a young lad, which is great. Let's pop on. This is a morning routine. I've just realised I can make this full screen. Hang on, let me see if this works.
Okay.
Yeah, I can.
Yeah,
that's good.
Can I see his thumbnail real quick though? If you go to his videos tab.
Yeah, sure.
Because I don't think. Okay, so that's his thumbnail. My exact 5 a.m. morning routine as a YouTuber. Okay. And then I can't read the rest of the text because it's cut off. But what is the rest of the text there? Do you know?
I'm a music.
We'll see. Student.
Just gonna mute this because it's gonna.
Which that's probably smart to put student at the end instead of, because what he probably wanted to write was my exact 5 a.m. morning routine as a student YouTuber, which YouTuber maybe is more attractive, and so maybe he put student at the end because some people are going to see that title, and then some people aren't. So, okay.
I think there's a little. You're right. There's a little bit of confusion of maybe what that might mean, or if it's just both combined. But I'm getting kind of Matt Develop vibes straight away. So let's just turn this on and I'll run it for 20 seconds.
So this is a typical morning routine in my life as a 17-year-old productivity YouTuber / student. 28th of September, Tuesday, 5:30 a.m. Yeah, good morning. It's exactly 5:42 a.m. and it is, as always, pitch black outside. So, let me turn the light on.
Okay, cool. Just gonna go and rewatch that first. I'm just gonna hit play again on that first few seconds. 1 second.
So this is a typical morning routine in my life as a 17-year-old productivity YouTuber /
Okay, cool. Just having a look there. I think borrowing off what Nolan said before, you kind of so this is you've set the scene. There's you've got B-roll going on. It would be good to flash forward a little bit, tease with maybe some of the things. If there's anything that you do that's kind of unusual, so if you have a routine that's maybe surprising, or you do something like, what are you doing later on here? Just to give a little flash forward as to maybe what to expect, and you could kind of do a lot of it creatively. Some people have like a freezing cold shower, so you could cut to you being like under the water, like -10 or whatever. But yeah, just to set it up a bit, but you kind of jump straight in there, and I like that you've really gone heavy on B-roll, and you're moving. It's constantly evolving visually, which is always very helpful.
Yeah, I really like the voiceover. I like the text on screen for this kind of a video. I think it works great. I like the music. The B-roll's great. It's fast-paced editing. If I was editing this video, it's so hard when you edit your own videos, and maybe he does, maybe he doesn't, but it's so hard when you edit your own videos to try and watch it without your own interest, because sometimes you can spend so long on a shot, you can spend so much time on an edit. To try and cut that out is like, it hurts. It's like you want every clip that you film to be in the video because you spent time on it. But as a viewer, if you can watch your edit as a viewer, I personally got bored on this clip right here, where he says today is the 28th, and he was still a little bit tired, so he's like, September, it's a Tuesday. I would have just took that out, and here's a good thing that I do sometimes too. If you can explain the clip that you might need to take out, and you can explain it with just text on screen, then take it out. He could have easily shown, which he has text on screen, as he was getting up out of bed. He could have shown the time, he could have shown the date. There's no need to say it. And so anyways, that's me being a critical editor, thinking through, trimming all the fat, and you keep the good stuff. I would have cut that part out. And then what you said, maybe find a creative way as well to show what's coming up with the, you know, the cold shower, the coffee, whatever it is. I think that's a huge thing that's missing here is, but however, it's hard too, because if he does get into it quick enough, he has the chance to keep people, but still you want to let them know what's coming up, or else they might just click on the next video. So I think that would work really well.
Yeah, you're right. This was the bit I noticed.
It's just where I lost interest personally, because it wasn't
didn't
any
move
sort
the
of new
story
information.
forward.
Yeah, it didn't.
It sort of got in the way of the next stuff. You know, creative ways to do it that they do in film. It's a bit difficult now. It used to be like the date on the paper they would show, you know, on as a bit of B-roll, which would set that, and like Nolan just said, showing the alarm clock, which I think you did, But you do have to be careful with these for sure. And I always find that with the routine ones, you really want some kind of hook, and you need to create some sort of anticipation, because it can become a list rather than a story. So you're doing everything from storytelling right here. But actually, you know, I looked at the comments, and you know, there's a lot of comments. So you've got a great community here. This is strong. It's going on for ages. Look at that. It's still going. It's still going. You know?
I like the just the feel of the video. I like how you're recording your own B-roll. It wouldn't make sense to use B-roll from a website, you know. So I like that you're getting these great shots. You're spending the time to get the shots of the clock, to get the shots of you getting out of bed. All that stuff is helping you, and you're doing great at that. So props to you on the style that you're making here with the videos.
Yeah, you're doing well, definitely. You know, there's I might have to start borrowing some of your titles. How to break YouTube addiction, really well there. Yeah, but yeah, I think I think you've got a really promising future here. It's a good job, man.
One idea I have too for that video is, if I'm clicking on that video, I want to know why a 5 a.m. morning routine isn't like awesome, but if it helps your productivity or if it helps your health, then it's awesome. And I think what you could do in the beginning of your video is even be like, this is my 5 a.m. morning routine that has helped me become 10 times more productive, or, you know, you just got to think about it yourself. That's helped me become more productive, get more done in the day. And I've actually have time to work out every single day now because of this routine, and showing those clips, because you do that later in the day. That's pretty cool, because now it's like, I want to know the routine that's going to give me enough time to work out, give me enough time to become more productive. And so thinking through too, like, okay, it's a 5 a.m. morning routine video, but why would someone click on this video? Not because they necessarily want to wake up at 5. What they really want is they want more time in their day to read. They want to become a better person. And so focusing heavy on those things and saying those up front could be a really good way to tie people in.
So this was a day in a life of video that just blew up, right? 5 million views. Obviously there's a poll in it, which is going to help for clickability. And this is a day trader. And let's just see if we can borrow anything from this.
Okay.
Because let's have a look at the intro just to see what worked here. See if we can get you some inspiration if you end up doing something similar again.
Very similar with the alarm clock.
Yeah.
Locate. Come. DX, locate please. 10,000 shares. Please, give me a good price. 1 cent, please. 1 cent. Locate. 2 cents a share? That's too expensive.
Just kidding. That kind of crazy start. Only.
I love that.
That's funny.
Yeah.
That's funny. I like that.
You know, you get why that worked, because she's with day trading, people's general thought is they do 5 minutes of work in the morning and then they move on for the day. So she's played on that, you know, tons of energy. She's created some sort of emotional reaction where it's like you feel a bit tense when you're watching it, like, oh, what's going on here? This is hectic, and it really pulls you in. And then it goes to like, oh, this is really what it's like. But she's taken that whole idea of show what might happen later, come up with something that isn't true, but used it as a pretty interesting hook, and she's got 5 million views now. and that video,
that's
really
great. Fantastic. That's a great hook.
It pushed her channel a ton. So that's one of the things. It's like, at the end of the day, she might have done that because she's like, my life's pretty boring. Like, my morning routine is dry as anything, right? And it's like, well, if it's not interesting, what can I do to make it more interesting? Maybe it's like you wake up, it's a fake wake up where, after 10 seconds, it was just a dream, and you get up and you just pour a cup of tea and sit down. And you're like, so that's my morning routine over. That's it. But yeah, let's have a look. So Whitney, all right. So Whitney is aesthetics, skincare. All right, let's just pick a winner. Get the 90s supermodel look. That's doing well. Should we check out that one?
Yeah. Wait. Can you read the which one?
This one here. Get the look 90s supermodel hair. I'm gonna make it big again.
Oh, I think we're losing some of the full. I think it's, unless it's like that. It's a bit cropped in on the upper right hand side of the TV.
Sure. Let me put it back to normal. I'll go back to the beginning because that was kind of interesting.
Okay.
Okay, cool. All right, so I know what you were doing there, and I like the fact that you've been creative with the 90s and the music and everything, and then you're showing off the whole look and so on. Just a little bit too long.
Agreed.
I got the message about 10 seconds in. I'm ready. I'm ready for that. How do I get that now? You've teased me. I want my lovely 90s hair.
I agree. It's a great idea. I love the creativity. It's different, and it's the 90s vibes. Exactly. Just chop off a lot of that and get into it. I agree.
But fair play for the concept, because
it's great.
Visually, it worked for sure. And you got 600 views. Look, you did an amazing job. Love your personality. Lots of comments. It's looking like they're enjoying your content. So it's always worth checking out the comments and not necessarily just looking for clues. And the style. People will let you know if they hated the intro, and from the looks of it, it's working.
Could you play, and people might just be double tapping and skipping over the intro as well, but could you play the first maybe 10 seconds of when she actually starts talking?
Cool. Here we go.
Good morning guys, or good afternoon, or good night, or whatever time it is where you are. Hello. It's really early here today actually. This is the earliest I've ever filmed. It's like 8 a.m. so kudos to me. But today I'm going to be doing
it's pretty quiet. And I see a few comments too, people saying it's quiet.
Oh, sorry.
I think her actual video.
Oh, right. Okay, fine. Yeah.
Because the intro music was loud, and her actual audio levels, and so she can boost that up in editing, or she should record it a little bit higher as well. First of all, I want to say that Whitney is she's great on camera. She's very I like that she's smiley. She's very easygoing in front of the camera. She just has like a nice personality for the camera. So props just for being the fun and bubbly side of her coming out. But even in the way she started it, and I don't know what kind of videos she's posting on her channel, but if she does want to do hair and makeup tutorials, I think what could be strong for her initially growing her audience could be getting into the tutorial and then saying, this is the earliest I've ever done as she's curling her hair or whatever. So, because what people want, if they know you, they're going to sit down, they're going to have their coffee with you, they're going to enjoy talking to you because you're fun. If they don't know you, and it looks like she ends up doing that later in the video, but if they don't know you, they just want the tutorial. But what's so awesome is with your personality, as you're doing the tutorial, begin chatting with the viewer and continue to do that. So my suggestion is take out all the clips of you drinking your water, the clips of you even saying good morning, good evening. I would get right into it and then start having that conversation. I like the conversation with the viewer. I would just get into the content a lot sooner, and that would be my suggestion.
Yeah, agreed. Especially if you come across people from search, because the search audience is very vicious because they just want that information straight away. They're like, I've got a problem on itself now. It's the same for every traffic source, but especially in search if they've not had their needs satisfied yet. But otherwise, I totally agree with your aura on camera. You've got a nice natural aura, kind of like chatty. You know, exactly what I can't do. I need a script and I have to present, and I'm not very vloggy in natural.
Not everyone can do that. I can't even.
No, I can't.
I don't know. It depends, but no, definitely. So it's great.
I wanted to do that, and then I just gave in. When this is hard, just write it.
I wanted to do it until I didn't want to do it.
Yeah, it just made my editing so much longer and my filming, and then you get frustrated and it's like, this is a nightmare.
Yeah.
So we've got Karim up next. We'll try and get 2 more in, and then I need to eat my dinner. So we'll move on. So let's have a look at this. Is the formula for breaking down views.
Hey, Visa.
Breaking down the Vsauce formula to go viral. Just the sound's okay, isn't it?
Hey, Vsauce. Yeah. Michael here.
Yeah. This sentence is more than enough for you guys to know exactly who we're talking about today. But how did Vsauce take very boring school lessons and turn them into 2 billion views? It's actually a very simple formula, but to understand it, we need to go back in time. June 24th, 2010. The channel Vsauce started doing just gaming content, and the first series to ever blow up was called LUT. And it was basically amazing things you can buy off the internet.
Cool. Not bad, man. Just got straight in there. Off you go.
Could you play that first 5 seconds again? Because I want to hear what Vsauce says here.
Yeah, that's I think what threw me a little bit, because I don't know Vsauce that well. So I was like, what's going on?
Hey, Vsauce. Michael here.
This sentence is more than enough for you guys to know exactly who we're talking about today.
But at the same time, he got in quick to satisfy what that was about. It was like 2 seconds. I didn't have a chance to skip.
Yes, that's true. I don't know Vsauce. I don't know if that's like something he says in every video or if he. Yes, I don't know. Yeah, I mean, here's the thing where I think he could potentially get more views. It is smart to. He's kind of like using Vsauce in the title, and he's using him probably in the thumbnail. Can't remember what the thumbnail looked like, but he's using him and making a video about him. But I wonder, so I wonder if the title though could be positioned a little bit differently, where it was more so, Vsauce's like secret formula to going viral on YouTube, right? Breaking down the Vsauce formula, to me, if I've never seen his videos, to be honest, but to me, I have to read the whole title, and then still I'm like, is it a YouTube video breakdown? Is it a science project? Like, I know to you this probably sounds really dumb because you know Vsauce, you know he's on YouTube, but you got to think also, as someone who's watching it, they don't have as much context. How can you reach those people who are interested in YouTubers and are interested in growing on YouTube? You could potentially reach more people just by repositioning that title a little bit.
I think so. This is a really popular niche. It's like analyzing creators, and I like watching this sort of stuff. It's fascinating, but you can lean quite heavily on how well known they are. So you have to think to yourself, it's like, okay, how well known is Vsauce? And if he's not that well known, do I even bother mentioning him and make it more mysterious? Be like, if he got 10 million subscribers in a year, You know, like use that as the hook. It's like breaking down 10 million views in a year, or you know, the YouTuber you might not have heard of, sort of thing, and playing up on that, and then you can introduce Vsauce later potentially. But I think with the thumbnail, you need to set up just how exceptional he is. So you know, and like Nolan said, formula is not necessarily quite the right word because it doesn't quite set it up enough. So I think you've got other videos here, like how to stand out, like Matt Develler. Again, what I actually found was I did a video on re-editing Graham Stephan's first video, and that was its name originally. It's like re-editing Graham Stephan's first YouTube video, and he just tanked when I released it. Everyone was like, who watched it was like, that was good. I never heard of him before, and I was like, I genuinely thought everyone knew who he was, and they don't. It's a tough one. And Paddy Galloway's kind of the master at this, and Colin and Samir. Go and check out their channels and see how they do it, because they have that down. But otherwise, from after that, when you got in, I was kind of listening straight away. I was, wondering where it was going. Just a little bit more of a setup on Vsauce, maybe for the guys that didn't know.
And I really liked how you said in the hook, how you said, I think you said something like there's actually a formula that he does, and it's like, it's pretty simple. You said something like that, and that really intrigued me to want to know what that was, which is a fantastic setup for me to stick around and actually find out what it is he's doing to get all these views. So props to that. I think it's hard to tell with the audio because it's getting streamed to me onto my headphones, but potentially getting a microphone like this, a USB microphone, could give, and you can get one for not too expensive, under $100. You can get a nice USB microphone, could really level up your audio.
It might have been echoed,
especially for what's that?
It might have just been echoed. Let me have a look.
Content strategy. Something clicked, and they were.
He's definitely got a mic. I know what you mean.
He is mic'd up.
At somewhere.
And it's hard to tell if it just sounds a little funny in my ears, but.
No, you're right. There is something, but maybe just try get a bit of padding around you. I'm not very good with sound.
Yeah. Or a little EQing or something.
Yeah.
Because this is a very heavy on the voiceover, as you're going to break down their videos.
Vsauce, 2 billion views over the years. So I would definitely get that into the title somewhere, or the thumbnail, and test that out, because that's a lot of views.
Yeah, no, I as far as the video goes, I thought that was a great video. I thought he set it up really well. So
this was the lady I was talking about, so we'll finish up here. But she on camera aura, excellent. You'll see what I mean in a sec. Okay. Just like fun, like you kind of want to get involved with this content.
Nice. The best way to organize a closet by color.
I mean, it's not a video for me, but she pulled me in for sure. Actually, I'll tell you, I could probably do it with the rest of my wardrobe. All right, let's hit play.
I know I'm not the only one, but who else has pit meat? She likes to come out a lot. I've grown to love her, so hello, girls. Hello, I'm Judy, the organizer and creator at Rescue My Space. Welcome back to my channel, and if you are new, welcome to my channel. So in today's video, I'll be showing you the best ways to organize your closet by color. Basically, I'll be showing you how to color coordinate your closet.
Cool. Okay. Little bit of repetition there. Yeah, so I mean, I enjoyed it just because I didn't know what was going on at the start, but I was kind of laughing. So you need to go by the data that you've got in your own channel there. But I was going like, what's this lady doing? And then I realised, and then I was laughing, and I'd kind of forgotten why I clicked on the video. But you sort of pulled me in. I sort of bonded with you, with your sense of humour and so on. And I just like playful content. At the end of the day, if you're teaching someone, you can make them laugh. It's a winner. Here you repeat yourself. You can just delete this pretty quick, this bit.
Showing you the best ways to organize your closet by color. Basically, I'll be showing you how to color coordinate your closet.
So then you say, basically, I will be showing you how to color coordinate your closet. You can just ditch that bit because you've said it beforehand. So yeah, I mean, you've kind of broken a few rules there, but I still enjoyed it.
That's the funny thing. Is because, what we've been talking about with like starting the videos off, she doesn't do it, but she actually makes you laugh. And you're clicking on the video because you want to know what the video has to tell you, right? But the fact that she just like pulls you in with her personality. She pulls you in just by being funny. Like, she made me laugh. And that's really powerful and potentially just super underrated if you have that kind of personality to lean into that, which is exactly what she's doing. It's like casual. It's it's not like a super short video. I could probably, if we wanted to make a video on the best way to organize a closet by color, we could probably do a bunch of research and make a video within 90 seconds on how to do it. But she's like, you're hanging out with her for 7.5 minutes. And I think it works because she makes you laugh. She's funny and she's just like fun to listen to. So,
I just imagine if this is the first encounter and you've just been looking at videos where you're like, want to organize a closet, and you've just watched 5 and one of them's like 10 years old and you're like, oh, this is like, none of these get information. And then this pops up. It's like, oh, completely, it's almost like a pattern interrupt in itself, because it's like, well, hang on a second, what's going on here? There's like some personality, and that's often what happens when there's more like educational stuff. It can be really dry, and that's great because it's helpful. But for me, that's an instant like from me. I would have hit that before we even got to the thing at the beginning because I was giggling to myself. And it's tough though, because if you try and do it and it goes wrong, you've sort of wrecked the video. And I'm sure the comments here will give some more clues as to what it's all about, but
and what's interesting about this is a search based, potentially, I'm sure it's getting suggested as well, but she's probably got some good traffic through search, right? If people are wondering how to organize a closet, and specifically even by color, but even if people are typing in how to organize a closet, they click on this video, and I'm just trying to think as the viewer, right? Because typically for me, if it's something search like this, if I'm wondering how to organize my closet, I'm watching one video and I'm not subscribing, I'm not liking, I'm not commenting, I'm organizing my closet, and I'm probably never seeing you again. But the fact that she somehow makes you laugh and feels comfortable, you might actually subscribe to a channel like that when you find them for a very specific problem. You know what I mean? Like, you're like, oh, not only is she going to help me organize stuff, but she's also going to make me laugh. So it's interesting. It's interesting as a viewer, finding her through search, but then getting a laugh right away is really, great. It's
probably going to separate your audience. You might find that actually, if you look at the graph, it's like, oh, people left, but then you might not actually know the impact. If you look at the subscribers picked up on this video in the analytics, you might be like, oh, it's slightly higher maybe. And that's one of the frustrating things about data, is that it's very robotic. It doesn't take into consideration other things that YouTube doesn't necessarily measure. And I think there's a guy called, I think it's High Peaks Auto, who I watch. He does like car reviews on old cars, and I discovered him via search, researching like an old car. And within about a minute, I was like, I'm going to watch more of these guys' videos. And I now watch the videos of his. I don't even care about the car, because just the way he uses a lot of similes that are very funny. And that's kind of it. And the way he reviews really got me. And he made me a fan of his channel. And now I watch his videos like every week because I like him. You know what I mean? And he makes everything interesting. So I think that's one thing that YouTube's data doesn't actually give us, is like just how much of an impact you have on people. And yeah, I would have hit subscribe on this straight away, just because of that. But it's not easy to master that either at the same time.
Right.
There's not necessarily a book you can read to teach you how to be endearing.
Right, because we could have gave her the same exact, advice that we were giving other people, to get right into it, and maybe, and who knows? I would tell her, actually, if she's watching this, experiment on your next search-based video, with actually getting into the video and problem right away and making them, and go for your funny joke 15 seconds in. And I would experiment with that, because then you have the possibility of keeping both audiences, the people who really enjoy you and your personality, but then also keeping in those very casual viewers who are just for you to answer their specific question. And then that's something I definitely would experiment with. A lot of the advice we talked about earlier. I would try that on your next video and see how it does. Still keep your personality, because that's definitely going to help you a lot, and it's great. But just start the content sooner.
it's almost like old versus new audience. Like your repeat viewers are probably just going to watch that and be like, this is fun. The newer viewers need a little bit more of a convincing. You're right. If you do things by the book, and it's kind of been the overriding theme for a lot of the videos. It's like people come out with their personality first, which is something that I'm always going to tell people to do. But yeah, if you can satisfy that click first and then bring that in. And I liked what you said about the last girl about talking about herself while she's showing you hair. Again, that would, doing hair and makeup, that would have worked so well for educating and having that personality. It's a tough old game, YouTube, isn't it?
It is, I'll say this though, all these people who submitted, and for all the other people who submitted, and just in general the people who are posting videos, congrats, okay? Because you're at the top, I don't know, 10% of people who want to do YouTube who are actually posting videos. There's a lot of people who are still strategizing and still thinking about the best way to do their 90s hair makeup tutorial. But the fact that you're out there doing it, you're actually starting to get some traction to your channel. People are starting to meet you online and build trust and build and laugh with you and hang out with you. And so that's your first step. If you aren't posting videos yet, take these tips, don't overthink it, and just try and implement maybe one thing and just post a video and slowly improve over time. When I watch your videos on Film Booth, I'm taking notes. I really am on pen and paper, and I'm really listening to what you're saying. And sometimes I have to pause it and rewind it because stuff you go by fast, and it's good because I'm like, I need to write this down because what you're saying here is really powerful. And so, but instead of being overloaded, I think focus on one thing, start posting videos, and that's going to get you on the right track to start making YouTube a full-time thing for you.
I got one question before we end. Are you a scripter, or are you a word-for-word scripter, or are you a bullet pointer and then riff?
It really depends on the video. So for example, I made a video called I bought the world's worst camera on Amazon or something like that, and it was $100 4K camera, and that video was very vloggy, documentary styles, but the voiceover parts were very scripted. Typically, and then I turned it into a short, and now it's going viral and it's getting 2 million views
I saw that.
every 2 days.
Wow.
And I re-recorded the entire voiceover to make it a 60-second short, and the storyline's a little bit different too. And I scripted that word for word because it's a short and it's so contained. But when it comes to just normal YouTube videos when I'm sitting and talking to the camera, my hook is usually scripted word for word, and the rest of the video is just bullet points, outlines. And sometimes I'm reviewing a product, sometimes I'm talking about a video. And so the hook, though, I spend a lot of time trying to think through the exact wording and how I can say that to the audience and what it is I'm trying to, like, that's word for word, typically.
Okay. Yeah. I just can't break out of the word for word. My brain goes off in peculiar places a lot of the time.
Yeah.
So, for me, it's word for word.
It's different for everybody, Yeah. Yeah, it's so different.
It certainly is. Oh, no, thank you very much. You've been absolutely fantastic. I've loved listening to you. And you've definitely put a boot up my arse to sort of take more notice to my intros again. I was listening to you thinking, I was doing that, and I feel like I've just got sloppy in places now. So hopefully my next video's retention doesn't crash too much at the start. But yeah, guys, look, I've linked to Nolan's channel. So Nolan's got his own channel as well, and he's going to be putting more and more content on there, filmmaking, all the sort of stuff that he's been talking about that helps make videos better, create more motion reactions. Go check out his channel, hit subscribe, because he's one of the best out there, definitely.
Appreciate it. Thank you. It's been so fun to hang out with you and with all of the Film Booth people. I see Roberto Blake was in here hanging out, That Nerd Chris, Booze on the Rocks, Spice. There's a bunch of people in here. So guys, it was fun hanging out with you. And Ed, it's always a pleasure hanging out with you. I love your videos and I learn a lot from you. So it's always fun to talk YouTube with you.
Yeah. All right, man. We'll have to have you on again sometime because it's been fantastic. And everyone who turned up live and is watching now, thank you very much for your time as always, especially the live lot because you've given me your time. So at my request.
Yeah.
See you later. Take care.